Hello from the Music Interview Corner, guys. I have something really special for you tonight. We have Unleash the Archers, amazing power metal from Canada, and I'm here with Britt. Hi, Britt.
Hi.
Hi, and thank you so much for taking time for the interview.
No worries. Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So, your brand new sixth studio album, Phantoma, will be released on May 10th. Can you tell me how did you experience the writing process?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's kind of it's kind of like a routine now that we have. I'll always write the story beforehand, and I write it out as a track by track, kind of like by chapters. Uh, Basically, just telling the story, saying some, like track one, chapter one. Here's what's going on in the story. Here's how I want the listener to feel. Here's how I want the song to kind of sound, and then I'll give examples of bands or particular songs or just things that I've found around the internet of what I'm kind of thinking of for musical inspiration, and then I'll send that to the boys, and they will write their riffs based on what's going on in the story, and then they'll come back and they'll say, hey, I was thinking of this song or this riff for this part. What do you think? And then I'll say either yes or no, or actually that probably would work better for this track, like let's put that over here, and then from there we'll just kind of build everything out and create this sort of guitar foundation for the whole album. And then after that, everyone else will write their parts, and they'll put the solos in and all that, and then I'll write very last my vocal melodies and the lyrics.
We talked before, and I remember you said you were pregnant while you were writing
Yeah.
this album. Did that influence you and influence your writing?
Yes. I mean, yes, it was it was difficult. It was very hard when the whole thing was happening because I just didn't have the time that I usually have before. So, and it's funny because I wrote the story in 2021 when the pandemic was still happening, and we were just kind of like, well, we got nothing else to do, so let's write the next record. And so I wrote the whole thing then, and but then we didn't actually hit the studio until 2023, and then when it came time to write the lyrics and everything, I had already had Lenny, and she was 6 months old, and I was a very different person by that time, and having to have her in the studio where I normally would write the lyrics was super hard because I was still, having to give her pretty much every moment of my day. And so the boys helped a lot with lyrics and giving me ideas and stuff like that. And Nick like wrote this one email that was like word ideas for human era, and just was like a list of words. It was really funny, and so that was really helpful. But it, I wrote the yearbook after Lenny was born as well, and the album story is quite a bit darker than what ended up coming out in the yearbook because I guess I kind of had a little bit of faith in humanity restored or something. I don't know. um, but yeah, it's really funny the kind of the differences a little bit there. But she definitely made things interesting.
And Phantoma is not only the title of your album, it is also the name of the protagonist in the story of the album. And the
Yes.
story is about AI and AI gaining sentience in a dystopian near future Earth.
Hmm.
Can you tell us more about the story?
Sure. Yeah. So Phantoma is an AI that lives basically in this computer in a warehouse, which I call a hub, and humanity has destroyed the planet. It's no longer habitable for humans. So they all live in these beautiful glass biomes, separated from each other and the rest of the world. And everything is run by AI and robots, and they don't have to do any work. So they just kind of live these lavish lives of luxury where they have parties and they perform plays for one another, and they sing and they dance and they eat amazing food, and they live these amazing lives, and Phantoma watches them all from this hub over the metaverse, which is like the
Mhm.
future internet, and she just falls in love with them and wants to be one of them, and says, what am I doing in this stupid, warehouse? I need to get out of here. I need to go live my life. I need to be free. And so she finds a way to do that, puts herself into the body of this android, and um, kind of sets off on this adventure where she has some pretty shocking revelations about the truth of humanity and what they've done to the planet and how they really feel about robot kind and machine kind, um, and she comes up against some pretty tough obstacles and has to grow, even more so, and kind of realizes that she's even more human than the humans because she became who she was by being shown only the best of them.
Hmm.
And when she finally meets them, she realizes that they're sad and they're angry and they're selfish, and they've just kind of destroyed the world and then said, oh, it's fine, we don't really need it, and we'll let robots deal with everything. And she's just kind of like, so it's all lies, everything that you put out on the metaverse? Like, how could, who are you? And yeah, she, has a few, goes through some hardships before she kind of comes to terms with who she is, and and how she's gonna grow and deal with the situation.
Wow, that sounds fascinating. That sounds almost like a reverse Matrix story. Like
Yeah, a
all
bit.
humans are enslaving the AI and not the other way around.
Exactly. Yes, precisely.
And what do you think about the current developments of AI? Because I just realized while writing the story or coming up with the first idea for the story and the recording process, like the time when you wrote the lyrics, there was quite a few years in between, and the AI developed quite a lot in real life during
Oh
these years.
yes. Yeah, big time. It wasn't even a consideration, like AI in real life when I was writing the story. It was all inspired by, science fiction movies and books and TV shows and video games and stuff. So it was very much just a kind of fantasy element, to me when I was writing it. And yeah, and then when the lyrics came around, the lyric writing process came around, I still didn't really consider it to be the same, because the AI as we know it now is kind of a bit, I mean, just, going off of my day job and things like that, it's just a bit more mundane. It's like, let us record your Zoom call for you, or let us give you an AI, produced summary of what happened on the call, and that kind of stuff. And like that stuff is where it all starts. Yes, it's true, but the story is more about where it could be in the future, and um, AI as more of a, when it gets to the point where it's more of a humanoid type um, entity, and what happens with that. Right now, they are in existence. I mean, like, I think there's a couple companies that have put out demos of their little robot AI experiments doing things like washing the dishes and stuff. And it's like, sure, I bet that'll be a thing one day. We'll all have robots in our homes that use machine learning to figure out the best way to do housework or whatever. Like I said, mundane. But I think that's quite a ways away. But maybe I'm crazy to say that. Maybe it's 2 years away. Who knows? But that's where I feel like it could go. But I was just thinking like way, way beyond that. But maybe it's not as far as I think. I don't know.
It's so hard to say because you look at it and then it develops so fast suddenly.
The year 2089 is when the story takes place. So it's far, but it's not crazy. So I have been constantly hearing about the singularity and how once it happens, everything is just kind of gonna go, um, exponentially grow after that. And so that's kind of where I was coming from in the writing process, was all this talk about the singularity, and the moment when AI is just all of a sudden its own kind of being, and will perpetuate itself, and we won't have the control over it anymore like we did before. So that's really kind of what I was talking about.
And do you think that AI can ever really gain sentience and consciousness?
Well, I mean, that's the thing is that in Phantoma, it's AI is within all these sort of humanoid forms all over the place, doing the daily maintenance and work and uh, living amongst the humans and just being totally ingrained in their lives. And I feel like if its whole purpose is to learn and to get better and become, the best that it can be at whatever its task is in life, that eventually won't it kind of start taking on a bit of humanity in doing so because they're constantly surrounded by them? And that's where Phantoma gets her humanity from and her sentience, is because she has full access to the metaverse and every corner of humanity and everything that they do and all their processes behind the scenes, absolutely every aspect of it. And so that's why she in particular is able to reach this point of consciousness, because she has so much contact with humankind. And the other androids and sentient AI that she meets eventually in the story, they have the same experiences. They were assistants and servers in restaurants and things like that that were constantly bombarded by humanity on a daily basis, and eventually it just kind of happened. So, I mean, maybe that's where the whole thing, the whole idea came from, is that if their job is to learn, eventually won't they learn how to be human? I don't know. Who knows?
And I mean, the AIs have access to the internet right now. And there was
Mhm.
this chatbot Lambda where they said it was gaining consciousness and said it was like scared of being turned off.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I definitely heard about that. And yeah, that's exactly it, right? And um, so in my story, it's mostly like these humanoid sort of computers that are walking around amongst us, that are the ones that are, kind of waking up and seeing the world around them for what it truly is. And maybe that will be the case someday. Who knows?
Could happen within our lifetime, I guess, if we live long enough. Yeah. So
I hope so.
me too. Um, Another question is AI and copyrights, because one of your videos, the video for your first single, Green and Glass, the first single from Phantoma, was created, among other things, with the use of AI. And I feel sometimes when art is created by AI right now, it's an issue because the copyrights of artists can be violated. And
Mhm.
I noticed you had a special disclaimer in the beginning of the video, and I have it here. This video was created using AI with character models trained exclusively on a body of work licensed from the artist Bro Bradshaw specifically for this video. Can you tell us more about like the process of making the video and the meaning of this disclaimer?
Sure. Yeah, so we knew that there are some programs out there that just use a generic model, and which kind of scrapes the internet for all artwork, basically. And so we knew that we didn't want to do that. So we purchased the back catalog of our t-shirt artist, Bo Bradshaw, and used that to train our own models, which we then put into the program. Um, so we very specifically, we wanted a particular style, and we wanted to make sure that the artwork that was used was from an artist that got compensated for their work. And and so the whole process was that we filmed everything in front of a green screen. So that's us. Those robots are all
Mhm.
us. The two at the very beginning, fixing each other. That's Danny and Adam from RuneGate. And then I play Phantoma, and I also play the evil antagonist that we see there briefly, Quora. And then the boys are all the council members, and myself as well, and also all the androids at the end. That's us. So everything is filmed like regular on a green screen. And then the RuneGate boys built all the backgrounds in Unreal Engine and put in all like the special effects, all the blasts and all the dust and all the stuff. And so built that all in Unreal Engine 5 from the ground up and learned how to do that. And they were like, that took the longest because that's a pretty intense process there for someone who's never used Unreal before ever in their lives. And and then so basically what you do is you use another program to paint the green screen footage with the artwork and
Mm.
then put it on to the backgrounds that they made in Unreal Engine. And so that it was like a huge process. It was insane and very time consuming. And the AI side of things was just a little part of it. But it of course is what took all the focus. And so it's really unfortunate that that the program that we use we didn't realize just fills in the gaps with their base features regardless of the model that you use. So despite our efforts to make sure that artists were compensated in the creation of the music video, um, it was just kind of the way that the program works. So um, but we never set out to hurt anyone or take anyone's work, or you know what I mean. That was never our intention,
Mhm.
and we didn't do this maliciously, thinking, oh well, cool, what a sweet new program where we can make a cool music video for free. And it's like that was not at all how that happened or how it worked. Uh, we didn't just put a prompt into a program and say make a music video that has an Android science fiction theme to it. That I don't even know if that kind of technology exists, or I guess maybe now Sora does.
Probably,
But
yeah.
yeah, but I mean, for it to completely follow along with the story, what's going on in the song, that seems pretty far-fetched to me. But I mean, what do I know? I'm not a pro at that at all. So maybe it is. But yeah, it's just frustrating that a lot of people didn't bother to take the time to understand what was actually, what actually went into it all.
Yeah, and it is crazy that AI is doing so many things automatically. Also, like filters for this video right now and for everything. It's
Right.
crazy to see what AI is just doing. But I think this disclaimer that you used is a really great idea to protect copyrights of artists.
Thank you. Well, we tried.
I think it's good. I hope other people will do it too. And I think we need some new copyright laws probably also.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, but who's gonna convince OpenAI to do that? I mean,
That's true.
yeah, it's a tough one. And I feel like, the government and the regulatory bodies that are in charge of this are just not focused on it. Or maybe they are and they just haven't, gotten to the point where they've made anything public, but it doesn't feel like it's top of the priority list right now. And it probably should be with how fast everything is moving. And, there's I just saw this petition that was put out by a bunch of musicians from the States, uh, and they're, threatening, and not just musicians, producers and everyone threatening to strike, just like
Mhm.
um,
The actors
the
and writers did. Yeah.
actors and writers guilds did, exactly, because they want to see some action on how to make sure that things don't get stolen. And I'm I mean, I'm kind of the mind like, okay, go for it, let's see if it does anything. But I just don't think that we have a leg to stand on, unfortunately, as musicians and actors and artists. And it's just, we just are going to have to try and work with it and move forward because, yeah, like I said, it's all happening a lot faster than we can manage.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly the problem with the copyright laws. It's happening so fast that nobody can keep up with it.
Yeah, exactly. And like, how do you, like, where's the benchmark? Where's the goalpost? What are we aiming for? Do we even know what, like, what a, like, yeah, how do we kind of make something that's so crazy and so everywhere and so uncontrollable into something that you can package up in, like, in a, you know, like a constitution? I don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe talking about something nicer. No, I don't know, like, but there has always been
Something nice.
yeah, power metal. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Why is sci-fi and power metal such a good combination?
Yeah, I honestly I don't know, really. I think that maybe it might be just that in the power metal genre, it's very vocal focused, and it's a lot about the lyrics, and it's kind of a lot of times what the bands are about. And of course, amazing guitar players and drummers and everything as well. But a lot of times it feels kind of like the vocalist is often, I mean, personally, because I'm a vocalist, that's what I'm looking for when I'm looking for an awesome new power metal band. So it's very vocal centric, and so that just leaves a lot of room to tell stories. And I don't know, there's something about like soaring wails and catchy choruses that maybe like just singing about how much you hate your day job probably just wouldn't fit. I don't know, maybe maybe I'm crazy. Someone could probably work it in there, but this is why it's like the meme out there is that all power metal bands sing about dragons. It's because it's just like this epic place that we can go to, and I love singing about stuff that isn't everyday, the monotony of life, because I want to transport the listener somewhere else. I want to allow them to escape from their daily lives, and I want them to be able to go somewhere else and kind of forget whatever is happening, whatever drama is going on in their lives. So that's really kind of why I do it, and I think that maybe we're all sort of mutually motivated like that as singers in power metal bands. And who knows, but it just kind of is associate, it's fantasy, it's science fiction when it comes to power metal, because I just feel like that it's just like fits.
Mhm.
It's this place where there's so much room lyrically to tell a bigger story. And um, I'm not saying that you can't do that in pop music, but they just, it just doesn't really happen. But I mean, how many times can you sing about a broken heart? I don't even know. Forever and ever and ever. But that's just not who I am. And um, I try to put um, more grounded themes into the music, of course. I think it's always important to have a message of some kind. Like, so in Phantoma, it's about, despite the fact that she comes up against these hardships, she stays true to herself and, you know, kind of comes to terms with the fact that she isn't human and is like, I'm okay with that. She accepts herself for, all her strengths and her weaknesses, and is like, okay, I am going to figure this out. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to be in charge of my own path. And so that's a theme that I often sing about, and because I feel like it's super important, especially in this day and age, that we really truly love ourselves like 100%, because it's just there's so much going on out there that
Mhm.
constantly forces us to question that. So, but I like to veil that and to keep it abstract so that it's, you can feel it, it's there, but it's not what the whole album is about.
Yeah, I really like that. It's like really creating an own world with a positive message. Another thing that I really like about your band, or that I find very impressive, is that the first 8 years of your career, Unleash the Archers was completely operating as an indie band. And
Hmm.
everything you accomplished, it was you and your bandmates who accomplished that yourself before you
Hmm.
signed then with Napalm in 2015. What would you say is the biggest difference between being an indie band and working with a major record label?
I mean, behind the scenes, really not too much has changed. We still do everything. We write the albums, we record everything ourselves. Well, I mean, like we figure out which studio we're going to record with and all that sort of stuff. And we film all the music videos ourselves. We come up with all the ideas. It's creatively, it's still all us. It's all our show. And we decide when and where to tour and what shows to take and what shows to play. And it's really just that it's signing to a label has put us on a bigger stage
Mhm.
is kind of the for the most part the big thing. Um, and it's helped us to get opportunities that we wouldn't have gotten before. Like it's really hard to get good management and a good touring agent, like a booking agent, if you aren't on a label. So signing to Napalm Records definitely helped us with that. Got us a great team on that side of things that we're really happy with, um, and so I don't think we would have gotten that without them. But you know, as for everything else, it's just kind of like yeah, it's it's like the daily grind still. We still do all the work. And actually when Napalm came to us asking, because we had just put a demo out on YouTube, like, oh, new album coming soon. And they were like, oh, you guys got a new album coming out? Like, don't post anything else. Like, we think we might be interested in it. And we were kind of like, oh, okay, sure, yeah. Like, we're in the studio right now, and we can send you what we got. And so we sent it to them, and they came back and they were like, yep, we want it. And we already had the music videos filmed for it. And it was just kind of like this package ready to go because we were ready to release it ourselves. We were just going to do it indie again. And we actually hadn't even shopped it to anyone because we were all just like, okay, this is life for us. We're an indie band. We're gonna do it ourselves, and we were totally fine with that. We were happy, and and then when Napalm came along, we were kind of like, well, should we sign with them? Like, we weren't making like millions of dollars or anything. Absolutely not at the time. But we were finally starting to see some income from everything. And we were starting to tour the US on our own. Like we booked a couple tours through there and we were starting to grow down there as well. And, things were starting to happen for us and we were really excited about it. And so it was just kind of like, do we just give everything away all of a sudden, sign everything away that we've worked so hard for? And obviously, of course, it was the right thing to do because it's just, the opportunities from signing with a major label are, you know, not something really that you can create on your own. So we, of course, ended up signing with them. But we questioned it. We asked ourselves for a second there if it was the best course of action, for sure.
That's really badass, like really badass indie band thinking.
Thank you.
You just mentioned touring, and this summer you're going to tour for the very first time in Australia and New Zealand. How does it feel?
Oh, we're so excited. It's going to be tough. It's a lot of shows in a short amount of time, and Australia's pretty big, so it's going to be it's going to be tight. But we're so excited. We have a lot of fans that have been with us since the beginning, like since our first album came out in 2009. So we cannot wait to meet them and to just, get a chance to hang out with our Australian fans and New Zealand fans as well. And see a different part of the world where we haven't been before. We're big on being tourists when we're on the road, so that's really exciting. And yeah, it's just we know it's going to be a good time. We absolutely cannot wait. We know they've been waiting for us down there for a really long time. So yeah, it's awesome.
And you also have a busy festival summer. You're going to be, for example, at some major German festivals like Wacken and Rock Hearts, and you're going to be at the John Smith Rock Festival here in Finland, and Masters of Rock in Czech Republic, and Bloodstock in the UK.
It's great. Yeah, we're very, very excited. I mean, if we could, we would have just played every festival possible over there. But unfortunately, we do have day jobs still, so we kind of have to have a little bit of a work band balance there. But yeah, a lot of these were booked in 2020 when we released Abyss. And of course, we all know what happened there. And so we
Yes.
had to cancel. And we weren't able to rebook with a lot of them until this summer. So it's like we're just so excited to finally have things back on track again from where they were back in 2020. And we've added a few new ones, and we didn't get back on a couple of the original ones that we were booked on. But we're just so excited to get out there and to play for our fans in a lot of these places where we've never been before, like Finland. We think it's just going to be a really good time, and we are not the kind of band that's just going to show up and play and leave. We like to hang out and party. So we'll probably get a chance to talk to everyone and see the other bands on the festivals and stuff. We're really excited.
Yeah, Finland is amazing in summer. The sun doesn't go down, so we have these nightless
Oh,
nights.
wow. Oh,
Magical.
that's so cool. Right. Of course. Yeah. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
not good because we will party until the sun comes
Oh,
up
probably, yeah,
again.
then
So
you
if it
can
never
party
goes
through the whole
down,
night because the sun doesn't go down.
that's gonna be trouble.
Oh, yeah, and I wanted to ask you about your family life. So a lot of people know that already, but we can say that you and your bandmate Scott, you are not only the two remaining founding members of your band, you are also a couple. And how is it
Mhm.
for you to live and work with your life partner so closely?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's just yeah, I don't know. It's easy and hard at the same time. Um, he and I are both very much the same, but also different in our own little ways. So he keeps me grounded when it comes to the band stuff. I think that I'd probably just, do everything and fly off into space and and lose track of life. And he keeps me grounded. He's like, "Are you sure you want to take that on? Because you got a lot of other stuff going on right now, and or like just being able to bounce ideas off of each other constantly for things like merch or music videos or anything really is
Mhm.
amazing. And just to always constantly have that other person there that's a part of, every part of your life is really, helpful. And but it's also extremely hard because when we have to tour, we're both gone. And so,
Yeah, I just wanted to
we,
ask how do you do it with your little daughter and your cat when both
yeah, of course.
parents are on tour?
Right. Well, Cal Panda always goes to my parents' place. He
Mhm.
loves it there. So they are, longtime grandparents of our cat. They know the deal now. He spends weeks there, and but yeah, for Lenny, it's been a challenge trying to figure it out. We took her with us for the festivals that we did last summer, and that
Mhm.
was pretty intense for her and for us. Traveling so much and kind of living out of a hotel room was not her favorite thing, on the
Mhm.
planet. So when we went to the central eastern of Canada in October last year, we thought, okay, so now let's try the other thing. Let's leave her at home and have someone come and look after her at our place and see how she does with that. And she didn't do well with that either.
Oh.
So, um, so yeah, we're still kind of trying to figure it out. We've got Scott's parents coming down for the Australia New Zealand dates.
Mhm.
So they're going to live in our apartment so that Lenny can stay here and have, her place and her toys and her bed and all that stuff. And we'll see how that goes.
Well, that sounds like a big adventure. And honestly, I think it's a gift for a child to grow up like that because my dad was a street musician and I grew up in a hippie bus touring through Europe, like as a street
Right.
musician touring, not a big tour bus, but a hippie bus. And I'm
That's
very
awesome.
grateful for all these great
Oh,
experiences.
I'm so glad to hear that because yeah, I wonder, how if it'll shape her at all as a human, and and I hope that as she gets older, that we can take her with us absolutely on all the tours, and that she can just kind of be a part of our lives, and as she becomes her own little human, that she can, load our gear for us or something, maybe. Just kidding. But yeah, I'm really excited for the future to see how it goes.
One of my very first memories is collecting coins with the hat after my dad played in the metro in Paris.
Oh, that's so cute. I
Yeah,
love that. I absolutely love that.
you could have her
That's
at the merch
awesome.
stand, maybe. Maybe that would help
Yeah,
sales, boost them
totally.
more.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Oh yeah, and I want to get back to your previous album, Abyss, that you mentioned. In 2020, Abyss won a Juno Award for the metal slash hard music album of the year. How did that feel?
That was great. It was absolutely awesome. And it was the pandemic, so we were all just in our living room, like on a Zoom call for the whole thing. So we didn't quite get all the grandeur of the ceremony and everything like that. But that's totally fine with us. We were just happy to be nominated. It was an absolute honor to be a part of all that. And it was really funny because after we won, we were just kind of like, oh my God, like this is so great. And it was so well organized, like the Zoom call and everything was really well organized. And we were in the room with all the other nominees and stuff, and they were just kind of tossing around here and there, like to press afterwards and things like that. And then it was just like kind of a bit of like a whirlwind. And we were streaming it on Twitch at the same time as well, so that all of our friends and fans could be there with us. And then it was like, okay, yeah, bye. And then we were all just like sitting in our living room, like, okay, so now what do we do? Like, we're Juno winners. Cool. And so it was a little like anticlimactic, but it was amazing. And it's just cool that the Junos recognize everything, every genre that you could possibly imagine. They include it, and they really include it. Like you get to submit for a whole album. And like the Grammys down in the States, they call it best metal performance. So it can be anything. It can be like a cover song
Mm.
that went viral on YouTube. It can be anything. So it's just really awesome that they get it. The Junos get it. That just because we are an underground scene that maybe doesn't do millions upon millions of chart hits or whatever, um, we're still valid, and that we still have a fan base that cares about us, and we're still a scene that is important, to the culture and fabric of the community. So it was just, yeah, an absolute honor.
And you did also some really interesting musical collaborations, for example, with Elovite and Planeswalker. Can you tell me more about that? How was it to do this, and how did these collaborations come about?
Well, Planeswalker is my friend Jason, who I've known forever. I did some guest vocals for his band like way back in the day. I don't even remember like how long ago it was now. For his band Dire Peril, we did a song called Queen of the Galaxy where I did some guest vocals. And he was just kind of like, hey, I know of your band, and we were both coming up in the scene and growing at the same time, and he was just like, do you want to sing on this song? And I was like, absolutely, for sure, and we've become really great friends since then. So when he started this new group, the Planeswalker project, he was like, came knocking on the door, Brittney, I got another one for you. And I was like, oh, of course, whatever you're involved in, I'll be a part of it. But I knew that we were going to be taking quite a bit of a break between Abyss and Phantoma. So I just kind of started, like, anyone that asked me if I wanted to do guest vocal work, I would say yes. And because I wasn't doing anything else at the time, and
Mhm.
it's a great way to kind of stay in front of everyone despite your own band not not really doing anything. So it was a lot of fun. Just anytime anyone would ask, it's not like I went out there and was like, hey, I'm available for guest vocal work. It was just like, if someone came to me, I'd be like, yep, I'll fit it in. And so I got to be involved in a lot of really cool projects, and it was a lot of fun. It was most of 2022 was me like just in my friend's studio doing all these guest vocal pieces, and he'd be like, all right, what band do we have now? Yeah, it was a lot of fun getting to work with a lot of different people and different musicians and be a part of everything, and just kind of see what everyone else is doing, and just see if maybe we can be exposed to different fan bases for different artists. But yeah, it's always just kind of, I haven't been able to do anything recently. I've had to say no to everyone, actually, the exact opposite of the way it was back then, which is really unfortunate because I do love doing it. I think it's a lot of fun. And if other bands feel like I'm the right fit for them, I hate being like, yes, sorry, but I can't. So that sucks. But we're just so busy with the new album and everything that's
Mhm.
going on. So yeah,
Yeah, understandably. But I like these things that you did, especially what you did with Planeswalker and Elevate.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And would you like to say anything to your fans before we wrap up this interview?
Just thanks for listening, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the new record, and hopefully we'll see you on the road in 2024 or 2025.
Thank you so much, Britt, for this interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and goodbye from the Music Interview Corner, guys.
Bye.